The Russian twist is the laziest and most cheat-friendly way to train your obliques, and that's why you've got to stop doing it. Here's the thing with the Russian twist. You're doing it because you're aiming to get a twisting motion into your workouts, you want something transverse, and you want to hit your obliques. But the Russian twist just isn't an efficient way to do that because there's so many easy ways that you can cheat, and once you get those cheats involved, you're inviting injury too. So we want to get away from the Russian twist, and we want to find other ways to train our obliques and get that twist into our workouts. So let's get to it.
One of the easiest things that we would talk about is getting into that cheat-friendly type of mentality. Specifically when you're fatigued, you can't breathe as properly and as smooth as you would normally do that. You're gonna find yourself in a poor spinal position, hunched over the top of the kettlebell or dumbbell or whatever weight you wanna use. When you're in that spot, you're not able to optimize the muscle movement and muscle activity you would want. So instead of putting yourself into an optimal position, you're putting yourself into a really lazy one.
Classically done properly, it's not a bad move at all, but there are all these opportunities when you're doing the Russian twist to do it improperly, and that biggest one is just getting too high in our position. The other issue I see on the Russian twist is the whole twisting motion. So in order to really get this twist to work, our shoulders have to rotate while our hips essentially stay stationary. And what happens too frequently is, one, we get high up, so we're suddenly just moving our hands from side to side and we're not getting the most out of the move, or we stay laid back, and because we don't really have the true abdominal strength, or because we're starting to fatigue, we start to again not twist at the shoulders but just move our hands back and forth, and you're starting to get away from using your abs to do anything. It really defeats the purpose of the entire Russian twist concept.
And it's exact reason on why people think that more is better, when better is better. More of it isn't gonna necessarily put you in a better position, but doing it in an optimal way will, which if we're trying to troubleshoot the actual mechanics of this movement, you're adding 3 features onto your spinal area that you wouldn't necessarily want to, specifically with extra load moving around that. That's gonna be flexion, that's compression, and that's shearing. And those 3 things where we're talking about the movement of the vertebrae moving forward and having them compress down on one another is a perfect recipe for long-term spinal health. And as we know, low back injuries are one of the leading and highest prevalence areas for injuries within the society that we have today. So the Russian twist probably isn't the best medicine for that issue.
Exactly, and understand this. You should be able to flex your spine. Spinal flexion is not a bad thing. It is not a bad thing to twist. What happens is when we're combining these things, when you can twist and you can get spinal flexion and you're not really comfortable with either idea, you don't have that control where you can kind of tell the difference and really find your positions, that's when you get sloppy, that's when you invite injury, and that's why we get away from the Russian twist and we attack a couple other moves that can still hit those same notes in terms of functionality, and they're gonna carve your abs even better too. So your first alternative for the Russian twist doesn't actually involve twisting, but it's still gonna slam your obliques. What we're gonna do is we're going to go to either a hollow hold or a hollow rock, but it's gonna be with an uneven load. So then what your body has to do, because we have an uneven load on one side, your body is going to have to twist and compensate for that and work anti-rotationally. That's actually gonna fire up your obliques a ton, but the great thing about this is you have to be really, really aware of that spinal position. Your first obligation is to own the hollow hold, and because of that, your spine is never gonna wind up in a bad place.
And finding ownership of that position is critical. No matter what you're moving into with whatever exercise you choose, being able to solidify the form is really what we want to focus on. And as we're transitioning with the Russian twist, one of the key things that people love about it is the weight moving around the body, which is why we'll be able to give you a supplemental exercise such as chops to fill in the blanks that would be more advantageous for you. The best part about it is you're holding this position with a nice static spinal position, having the abs contract and focus on maintaining your position, but you're keeping the weight rotating around the body and sliding across the body in more ways that you would actually use in your day-to-day. So you're gonna find out that it's gonna translate better into your regular day life than Russian twists, which you may feel the next day, but you probably won't.
I like chops especially because you can really be aware of your glutes, you can get your abs involved, and you really get to focus on keeping your hips and shoulders square one way. It becomes rotational and anti-rotational. It's a really good way to discover how you move and how you rotate as well. If you want something a little bit more challenging, we get that too. Our challenge move for you is a hanging knee to elbow. And the great thing about it is, with that twist, you get some safe spinal flexion. It can't happen badly when you're in a vertical position. And the only possible way you can get elbow to knee is by really getting that good twist, which is the objective of the classic Russian twist.
And these are all more advantageous options for you when it comes to training your abs. They're ways that'll translate into your programming and ways that'll help show your abdominal muscles the way you haven't seen them before. So instead of going with Russian twists over and over and over, you're better suited using these other 3 options.
Exactly. You can keep the reps lower. You're going to get more for it out of your abs though, and we're going to get rid of all those cheats that come with the Russian twist because you can't cheat our moves.